Good morning, warriors. Hope everyone's doing well. Took a couple days off and helped my wife for Mother's Day. Got things done around the yard. It was beautiful weather over the weekend. And so hope you guys are staying with your plan. Hope you guys are doing well, achieving your goals, continuing to work through things. And for those young ladies who are mothers in the audience, happy Mother's Day yesterday. Hope you guys had a wonderful day. Like I said, it was beautiful weather, and it was nice to kind of work in the yard a little bit and those type of things. So, good. All right, so this is May 9th, I believe. May 9th, 2022. So, lots of great comments. We have a lot of good ideas coming over the next week or so, and I apologize. I think once I get done with the semester, which is probably another few weeks, I'm going to catch up with a couple I want to catch up with. I want to do a special one on Fountain of Youth, and one of these on, I think it's called Chi or Chai. Chi or Chai, maybe it's Chai. Because I think there's a lot of benefit. I'm learning more and more about that. A lot of benefits to healing through your own massaging of parts of the body that are troubling and things like that. So I want to kind of do one on that, but I want to do a little more research on that before I give you guys my opinions, some ideas on that. But I will do one on the Fountain of Youth coming up pretty soon too, and want to catch up on those a little bit too. It's been kind of a rough and challenging semester, so we're trying to catch up with all kinds of consulting work and all kinds of classes. Nice to be busy, but it's nice to be busy and have things going on. So that's the main thing. All right, so we want to be able to kind of have, this is another one I want to kind of talk about that is important. So before we do that, go ahead and subscribe, comment, like, donate. I forget a lot to do a lot of those things. My main thing, like I said, is I want to get the information out to you guys, so I don't care as much about that. But I do care about trying to kind of get some information out to help you as much as I can. So, controlling sexual urges or temptation through meditation. Now, why is this important? Well, I think we had a couple questions on this over the last week or so, talking about how you get into the attitude or the mode of thinking to actually try to stop temptation from entering. Remember, we had said that, and I always make the analogy with birds flying over your head. And birds are always going to fly over your head. So that means temptation, in other words, is going to always be around you. You know, especially when springtime and summertime, you have a lot of young ladies and women who are walking around, and they look attractive, right? And for the young ladies, there's a lot of young men walking around, and they look attractive too. But the thing is that the temptation comes from the ideas you start thinking about when it comes to these people. And the same thing when it comes to pictures and magazines and books and things like that. You're the one that kind of forms that idea and that picture. And so what happens then is that the birds who are flying over, all of a sudden you start to entertain those birds, and those birds start to make a nest in the top of your head or your hair, right? So I kind of stopped the analogy after that point because, you're basically the birds are in you now. They're on top of you, all right? And it's very difficult to push them away once they're on top of you. It took me many, many years to start pushing them away, and finally, like 703 days or something like that. And I've gotten to the point where I'm better with it now than I was before. Now, I still have times when, I'm looking at the birds, I guess, if you want to make the analogy. But the thing is that I try to do different things to kind of offset that and just keep those birds flying around and not nesting. And so one of those things is meditation. And so I really believe very strongly in having a person who is having these issues find time for themselves to think, to focus, to reflect, to meditate on life itself, and those type of things that need to happen for you to get away from those type of temptations and into the goals and things that you want to achieve. And this becomes, very, very important in the whole focus of life. I think certainly when it comes to meditation, I enjoy that. Now, I've changed over the years as well. What I try to do every morning, and I try to do it at night, is I do kind of a plan where I do the Fountain of Youth exercises. This is after I take a cold shower. I do the Fountain of Youth exercises. Then I read from the Bible, and I try to, if I have time, meditate and go through some massages of my feet and hands, and like points for the chi points. Chai points. That focusing on the idea of trying to heal. And so I'm doing this more and more, and I'm kind of realizing that it is a benefit. And I think certainly I'm really more into holistic type of health now. So I'm doing all these things to try to kind of become a better person. Now, one of the things is the meditation. Now, what happens when you're meditating? Well, you're meditating is you're kind of focusing on the things you want to focus on. I mean, you focus on goals, and I do that before I go to bed all the time as well. But you're doing that when you look at this, focusing on those type of things. And then you also look at focus on trying to look at the ideas as you are thinking to yourself, okay, what are the things that I have to do to kind of, achieve the goals that I want to achieve? Now, when it comes to meditation again, your mind cannot focus on more than one thing at a time. And so you have your goals, and then you let your mind kind of go and filter through to try to kind of support those goals. Now, if other things enter, which they're bound to do, you have dreams, and those type of things happen. If you built up enough habit to be able to handle that and control that, then you're more able to, focus on the idea of, goal setting and things like that. So when we talk about the idea of controlling your sexual urges, as time goes on, it's not as much a physical thing, in my mind, now this is my opinion, than it is a mental thing. I think certainly you have the ability to upfront try to control as much as you can. You can't help it if birds fly over your head. You just can't do that. I mean, you're going to see images, you're going to see these things that are around you. There's nothing you can do about that. But how you react to it is something you kind of built into your system. And as time goes on, you're always going to be able to deal with this because of the way that you're handling these type of situations. When you focus on something and you've built yourself up a habit of handling this in a certain way, well, then you're going to be able to deal with it in a better way, even if it pops up with you at the last minute. It's almost like when you're kind of practicing for something and you get into a real live type event, you're better prepared. Even if something surprises you, you're able to handle it and deal with it. And I think this is what happens when you build a habit of doing the correct behavior. And so I think when it comes to this idea of energy, sexual energy, you want to conserve as much as you can. And getting upset, losing energy, on just looking at pictures, even people, you don't want to do that unless it's something you're really trying to use to procreate. So because of that, you're trying to save as much sexual energy as you can. And you're trying to use your energy to achieve goals instead of chasing people around or looking at pictures and just kind of, wasting all your energy away. So the thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and find these mechanisms, these strategies to be able to deal with getting your mind off of that and focusing it on your goals and things you want to do. Now, you have to have goals, right? That's one of the challenges people do. A lot of people don't have very tangible goals because they don't really think about what they really want enough. And I think I would encourage you to do that. The second thing I want you to do is kind of focus on having some sort of way to think about those goals on a daily basis. Whether you do that before you go to bed, whether you do that meditation, whether you do that when you get up. I put it on note cards, 3x5 note cards. All these things are good ways to actually go ahead and try to remember what your goals are. And then thirdly, you have to have some mechanism for you to relax. And I think once you relax, now you're able to kind of get more of a hold on these thoughts. The evil one of the seducers of the evil one, it's almost like the Dracula kind of myth too. I remember one of the movies, I think it was Bela Lugosi, and the Van Helsing said something like, well, the power of the vampire is that people don't believe there's a vampire. And I think that's the same thing could be said for the evil one, Satan. You can't, people don't believe there's really a spirit because they only see what they see and they don't see a spirit. So basically you can't believe there's anything else here. But if you use your common sense and you use logic, you could probably figure out that what we're seeing is not the only thing that's going on in this world. And there's a lot of things that we don't see that are happening or has happened. And, we don't experience it until after we're gone or before we even get here. And so those are the types of things that we don't know about. But we can make that type of deduction that those things are actually real. And those things do happen and those things are out there. There is a spiritual world, and I think that once you recognize that and you accept that for being it is, then you have a much better chance to deal with this issue. But if you don't accept it and you can't accept it and you only see what you're seeing, that creates a lot of interesting type of dilemmas and questions that you have. And people try to handle these in different ways, but they never really handle the situation. And some people take pills, some people go to therapists. A lot of people are doing these type of things, and it's not really providing what they thought. And I think once you start getting within inside yourself and you recognize things that are going on within you, and you recognize there's a God, and there's the other thing that is important. If you don't recognize there's something that created you, and I know I'm talking to most of the choir here because most of the people I know have expressed that they have a belief in God. If you don't believe in God, well, it's very difficult to believe that you can be rid of this situation. But if you got some sort of God who is that you are believing in. Now, I obviously believe in Lord Jesus Christ, and I believe He is our Savior, and I have total belief and faith in that, and so I don't really. I dealt with those issues for years, but I don't anymore because I'm really kind of in a different state of mind when it comes to that, and I think all that retention has done is kind of helped me wanting to get closer to God in that way. So when you're looking at trying to handle this energy and trying to control this energy, what you're doing is really talking to your God. And because you're talking to your God is helping you then in not dissipating this energy and thinking about ways to do that. Like I said, the mind can't focus on two things at one time. So if you're focusing on God and you're focusing on goals and you're focusing on things that you should be focusing on, you won't have time to focus on all these, deviant, lascivious behaviors that get you in trouble when it comes to releasing energy. And so this way you don't actually even entertain those thoughts and look at those things. And I think that's kind of the key to a lot of what you're doing. You're not really focusing on those type of things and entertaining those type of thoughts. And so this is where I think you go back and look at this and say, okay, this is something that I have to really make a judgment on. Is there a spiritual type of life, or is it just something that I'm seeing? If I'm seeing it, well then, that's a different way I'm going to approach this. So what I'm kind of really saying is that as you control your energy, your meditation, your prayer, you're doing this to contact the Lord. And the Lord is helping you given you that strength as well to be able to not entertain thoughts and to control this. So I think something like meditation, prayer, these type of things can help you a great deal when it comes to controlling this energy. And once you can control this energy, then you can kind of transmute this to go ahead and achieve those goals. All right, my friends, it is Monday morning, May 9th, 2022. Hope you guys have a great day and a good start to the week. And God bless you guys, and battle on.